What's up, everyone? The purpose of these videos is just so you hear directly from me. This is kind of the best way that I figured would be to share some of the new things going on and my thoughts about them. Was just to do it in this format, to just speak directly to all of you in a video. So a few notes of some things just coming up that are kind of new as far as what's going on, that you will notice, and that I'm just really grateful for your support up to this point, and that I want to prompt you to just continue to support the work and the larger vision of what is happening. And in a lot of ways, it's like, I know many of you know that there is like a larger something that's going on, and in pieces over the last few years. People have seen different like sections of that kind of play out, but what I want to do kind of in this video is just lay out clearly what some of those things are, and the ways that you can be involved, and kind of what to expect. So the first thing I want to talk about is the relaunch of Studio AM. So over the last 7 years, 8 years since I started that company, it's been a journey to get clarity into the type of work and direction of what it is that I do as a creative entrepreneur. So this year is going to be a relaunch of Studio AM and a reintroduction of Studio AM as a creative agency. So the ethos of Studio AM is up late, up early, and at the heart of what that means is it means that like the attitude and approach that a person has towards life manifests and plays out in the type of gifts that they are able to give to the world. So up late, up early means that you have the right attitude when you're up late, and you're having to like, or not having to, but you're up late because you're desiring to like continue to work at what it is that you do, but having the right attitude about that. Not so much like, oh, I gotta like stay up late, but now being like, oh, I'm gonna stay up late. And then the same thing goes for like getting up early. Not like getting up early because like you have to, but because like, nah, you're ready to get up and get back to it. So that's the ethos of Studio AM. It's just having like an honesty about the attitude and approach you have towards life, and an understanding of the outcomes that generates, and then what you can create with that. So Studio AM will be relaunched as a creative agency. There's another aspect of the creative work that I do outside of just making the paintings. I'm the creative director of a multitude of organizations, and do creative work in that capacity. So over the past 3 years, the realization I had was that like my capability to project manage, like I was my own limitation just because I'm one person. So, I can only be so many places, do so many things, and I quickly realized that the next step for the business was to kind of figure out how to still keep things simple, where my day to day, the simplicity of life that kind of like the creative flow comes from. Because for me, it's just like living a very simple day to day and being available. So that's really like, at least up to this point, I think they say some people thrive in chaos. I used to kind of think that like maybe that was the way that I was, but it's not. I thrive in simplicity, and that's not to say that when you really understand and you begin to like have an awareness of like why the simplicity is very good, that like you can't manage a lot of things that other people may see as like very busy or all over the place. Because right now there are a multitude of things happening. I wouldn't say it's just a lot of stuff, because that's all relative, and like the new areas that things are moving into will just only continue to be that way. So it was like this balancing out of like, all right, how do I keep things very simple but also scale? And Work Hard Digital, and my good friend Josh Lucas, who's the founder of that organization. We've known each other for going on a decade now, and have worked in various capacities together. And then it just got to the point where it made sense to really partner in this way on an agency side. So the relaunch of Studio AM as a creative agency is also in tandem with our partnership with Work Hard Digital, which serves as the project management engine for the various projects that I have going on as an artist, and that together we have going on with other organizations that are doing mission-aligned work. So that partnership is happening. We are in the foundational phase of building out systems and processes of something that will be impactful long term. So the last 8 months, that's really been the focus of really what I've been working on outside of making paintings. As far as like the painting goes, that's just like, that's part of my life practice. That's it's like if you're a runner, you run every day. You don't run every day because you're a runner because you run every day, right? If that makes any sense. So like at this point, it's like I wouldn't even be like I'm a painter. It's just I paint every day. So I guess I'm a painter, but like I also wouldn't necessarily see myself just as that, because there's a lot of other things happening. So the painting is part of my practice. I love it. It's a part of the meditative state that helps me be in a space of clarity, to observe other aspects of life and be able to organize and create with those effectively. So over the last like 3 years, I've made a lot of paintings, because there's been a lot of other organizational things in life going on, as far as really preparing and aligning myself for kind of like entrepreneur mode 2.0, of like really being like, all right, this is the type of work, this is the mission, this is what we're doing. Here are the partners. This is where we're at, and then going at it. So, so a few things to kind of build off of that thought. So Studio AM, creative agency, up late, up early. The mission of Studio AM is to promote and cultivate healthy culture through community organization, spontaneous play, and immersive experience. So there's a variety of things that means. Some of that means a certain portion of like programming, and some of that means a certain portion of curriculum. Some of that means a certain portion of shared community participation. And these are all things that as you get these newsletters and kind of these words, for me, as I share them in this format, I'll explain, just what's going on as it's going on. And then we'll all put our hand in the pile and continue to have fun together and make the world more beautiful. So the Residency, which is the upcoming project, is the gallery space, the physical gallery space that will be opening very soon. So that is a project in collaboration with Work Hard Digital that will be a physical gallery space. The nuts and bolts of it will, I've not had a physical space to display the work, to sell the work like this ever. It's really set up to be an incredible gallery experience. But there's also, it's also like more than that. So, it's a community space. Right now, working around, the COVID situation, some of the programming, we got to be safe about it. So that's some of the programming won't be rolled out initially, but it will get to the point where it's just a beautiful celebration of community in the south side of Pittsburgh. So that's what the Residency is. It is a project in an evolutionary stage, just as, all of us kind of are. Those of you that have been keeping up with what I do and the work and kind of the path that's been unfolding over the last decade, you all understand that it's very much here we are now. Here we are now, right? So it'll be an evolution. There will be new things. We'll observe. We'll tweak. We'll dial it in as it makes sense to do so. But from that space, it'll just have like a wonderful energy just to come and just be in the space. One thing that I've learned and observed over the course of like having various studios is that for me, it's just very normal to be around like the amount of artwork that's just always around, and to always be surrounded by these colors and things and art because I make it, so that's like my day to day. But that's not everybody's like day to day, and that's it's fun for me to be able to share that, and it's also helpful to see the creativity that other people carry within them that maybe they don't know. So So part of that space, the programming that will be associated with it, is to also help bloom that and also plant that and cultivate that in other people that may not even perceive themselves as like creative or artists, or maybe they do. There will be an aspect of educational programming, just kind of hands-on. Here's how you can think about like making this thing. Some of it is going to be educational, diving deeper into discussions about like the process of like introspective journaling and how that's helpful, and these tools that we all have available to us, and just like discussing that together. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about like the upcoming like creative retreats that will be happening. I mean, a lot of you guys aren't in Pittsburgh. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that will be offered that I really want to just invite those who maybe haven't visited Pittsburgh or from here and haven't been back in a while, or who've just never thought about like coming to Pittsburgh, to like come check it out. Come check it out. Come get plugged into what's going on. Come experience the community, and there's going to be things that are those invitations. So that's coming up. A new way. There's new ways that I'll be making the work available as well, because of the amount of different projects and places that day to day my attention is required for. Part of this growth phase for me has been, having people who see the larger vision and are and have the skills and the attitude to help grow that. So with more people helping, it also allows me to be more creative and also do more. And in that way, like my concept and my idea of like creativity is expanding way past just making paintings. So I'm still painting, but there's just other projects going on, and there's less work that I guess there will be less work kind of like being made. So it's like supply and demand situation of like the art, right? Like I was in a phase where I was just painting. I didn't have all this other stuff going on. That was it. And as over the last few years, as that's like become that dynamic has shifted. So is like the availability of the work and the ways that I'm making that available and the type of like work that will be. So it's very important to me that there's always accessible price points to begin collecting the work. When I started doing this, one of my goals, and many of you guys have collected, like it was one of my goals was to create a generation of new art collectors, people that had never collected artwork before, that wouldn't perceive themselves as like artsy or art collectors. I remember being told that like I should move to another city if I wanted to like do art because people don't like collect art here. In my perspective, I was just like, I think that's awesome. I think that means that there's just like the ability to create and help cultivate an environment within all these people who never would have thought themselves to be art collectors. A decade-ish later, it's that way. Like 80% of the people who collect my work have never collected artwork before, and this is good for a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons is it's just a beautiful thing for someone to make a choice to appreciate something that feeds them in a spiritual way, like feed your being. You appreciate that in a way that is different from you buying a meal or getting something that's utility or something that you're just like, oh, that's like or entertainment, but something that really like feeds you spiritually, that consistently does that, right? So it's been an honor for me to be able to share my expression and my daily practice in that way, because that's what it is for me. It's a practice that feeds me spiritually, and I get to share that expression, and it's appreciated. So from that, because there will just be not as much, and so it's, I'm still producing work. There's going to be another gallery in Midland that I'll announce soon and explain more about like how that goes. So there's going to be another physical location to get other types of work, like different collections that you couldn't get at the gallery in Pittsburgh or on the website. There will also be collections that are released via the mailing list. There will also be collections that will be made available with and curated through very intimate and unique experiences. As an artist, and just as a human being, I enjoy life with people, and I enjoy authentically and in an unburdened way sharing space with people. And so these intimate curations of it may be one painting that people haven't seen. It's less about like seeing the art. It's like really talking about it, getting to like have that experience in a way that the experience and being together is the art. Sounds like there's a train or something. Where the experiences are. Okay. So those are the new ways that the work will be available. There will be new types of art that will be available. Some of that is gonna be apparel. For a while, like I really was back and forth on how I wanted to approach the whole apparel idea of it. And as I've gotten new tools, because I'm in the process of also moving into another studio space, which is just like a larger workspace. I've outgrown the one that I'm in now. So I'll still have the space I'm in now, but I'll just have two studios to work in. And my new studio I'll have just new tools. I'll have the ability to screen print. So a lot of these prints, it may be like, releasing a collection of 10 one-of-one screen prints that it's the same image 10 times, but you are getting a one of one, that one in that collection. That'll be one of the ways, which is kind of like it's different than how I've been doing it. Because at this point, like a lot of the work truly is just like one of one, or you've been getting prints. So my approach is I want to elevate like the standard of what the print is. So there will be the prints. There will be some prints that are just available, like entry level. Anybody can go and they can get that image. They can get that piece of art, and it's available. Then there will be prints that it may be like these images behind me. Like I run 5 of those that are all printed on canvas, hand embellished, like reproductions, like one of one. That side like that, and I've made 5, and those will be made available in that way. There will be a variety of ways in which these will be made available. Some of them will be via the mailing list. Some of them I'll send it like some collections to the other gallery in my hometown in Midland, which I'll be announcing soonish. Some of them may go to the Residency gallery. Some of them may be art drops. I don't know. So there's just going to be a variety of like new products, new things coming out. Being on the mailing list, and just like being available for me just to like explain these things is a helpful way to know what's going on. I always think it's just like really good to be transparent. Those of you that have been following along for some of you now, it's crazy. It's like 15 years, right? Just like keeping up with the journey and being part of it, and thank you. So one thing that I've just always and will always do is just do my best just to be transparent about the things that are up and coming, and explaining if things in the way that I'm selling work or just new stuff, just kind of just being transparent in that process. And a lot of the positive outcomes in my journey of entrepreneurship has been by being transparent about what's happening and getting feedback from those who are supporting and on the journey as well. So I want to be just transparent about the cost of like the work, like the actual like dollar amount of like some of the pieces of work, and why some of them will be significantly higher than others. So at this point, in the scope of making art, and I'll show you guys this. I'll flip this around. I want you guys to see. So there's a lot of artwork just in the studio. And this is just like kind of like a small amount. So all of these carts are just full. There's probably several hundred pieces on each one of these, and there's just like a lot of art in the studio, as you can see. And that work is excuse me. That's a body of work over the last 3.5, 4 years. So some of these pieces will be made available at this point are dated. Some of them, to be able to get a piece that's from a whole different era of life, that no one's seen. That and I didn't. It's fun to be able to like have this much work and have the experience of collecting work now evolving into this new space of being able to think about it from the perspective of having this whole dated catalog of like just years of me daily, my daily expression and documentation and interpretation of life. Um, so some of these pieces, when they're made available, they just cost more. You know, that's just what it is, and there's a reason for that. There's uh, that's you know so like up to this point, it's been very much an intentional focus just to make sure that everything's super accessible. Some of these pieces, though, they're as accessible as like they're made available for the limited time to be able to like get them, and then they may just be tossed back in the vault. I think of it like aging wine. You know, sometimes I want to go back and dive into an expression and that I got started in 2016, and then like add to that. So from a creative standpoint, that's what like like I can't do that if I don't have those types of pieces around, right? So it takes 3 years to start a piece and then like be able to go back into it 3 years later. So the pieces that are like that, there's really like there's only ever so many of those that stay around in the studio and in the creative environment that long, and that generates a more uniqueness of like duration of me evolving as a human being, me cultivating my skills as an artist. And in some of the newer pieces, what I'm going to start doing is the day that I start the canvas, I'm going to start just like putting just like the start date on it. So like there's a start date and then there's a finishing date, because that's just helpful at this point to begin doing that. So even in the way the work sign, you'll begin seeing new things, and I'll continue just to explain these changes as they occur. But yeah, so there's that. There is so new studio, more work, different types of work. So apparel's happening. So apparel is really this approach to the apparel is like it's a one of one, also wearable piece of artwork that I'm like hand making pieces as if I'm like working on a piece of artwork. Like it's just like the same decision energy is going into just a singular t-shirt. So some of these items are one of one, so it's not so much like you'll be able just to be like, oh, I want that in this size, because like that's just not the way I'm approaching it. The one that's that one is that one. And then there will be some designs that I will make available that are just produced in larger collections where there are various sizes. So there will be the one of one original pieces, like the artist collection pieces. There will be the one of one like studio worn type things. Like it could look like I make this shirt available, right? It's a work shirt. It's the size that it is. So these, it's like the size that I wear because it's the size that I wear, and that's the size I feel comfortable in working in. So there will be a variety of different types of apparel. But apparel that's going to be a thing coming up this year. And then the art drops. The art drops are expanding. There's going to be ways that you are asked to, new ways that you're asked to participate in what those are. And just the idea and concept of like what an art drop is it's exciting. I'm excited about the new things coming up in that way. Because they'll be much more robust than just like putting a singular piece of artwork into the environment and a singular person gets it. It's going to be more of kind of don't want to say too much, but it'll be more of a group activity, group celebration of like there's just like a lot of other ways to like build community around like kind of like that unfolding of that exploration, winding up at this point of being like, oh, like this is just like really, there's a community built around it now. So now that's kind of where my mind is, as far as thinking about like what art drops are, is it's just like thinking about it from a perspective of, it took a while for it to be a tool that through consistency became a thing, that now it's a thing that people register. That's a thing, an art drop. Now it's like, all right, what do you do with that? What, so thinking in that way, now that it's like a thing, there's a lot of fun things that I'm excited to happen from that. So that's going to be coming up. There will be a variety of informational forms that will help us be thoughtful about how we communicate from Studio AM and the team to you guys. So those will also be a new aspect of like, if you're interested in hearing more about this, fill out this form, fill out this form, fill out this. So when we send the emails out, like we're not bombarding people with just a bunch of stuff all the time. We're not going to do that. It's very much crafted for you based off like the information you're telling us that like you're interested in. So that'll be very helpful to just fill those out as like you see something that you're interested in, so we can do our best in that way. And then just like, what are you supporting when you purchase the artwork or when you share what we're doing? At this point, we're living in times where the most abundant resource that's available is the human resource of people's desire to participate in something meaningful. And from the standpoint of like myself as an artist and the work that's happening and the type of projects that we're taking on, is we've built with Work Hard Digital and Studio AM, we've built agencies that are designed to let this, I don't know how loud this, I don't even know how loud you guys, there's like some noise, but you may be able to hear. Anyways, we've crafted out systems and processes in the form of companies and agencies that create access points for that human potential to overflow into and be cultivated, and to plant seeds and to grow and to bloom. And that's the work that like we're doing, and we're doing it in a variety of sectors. We're doing it in education, we're doing it in technology, we're doing it in real estate, we're doing it in the arts, and we're building, and we're evolving, and we're growing, and we're moving from a place of every time we see the ceiling, we work to see past that. And as a creative director, and as just the type of person I am, that's just like how I am, is really moving consistently and making decisions from a place of like, what's the most incredible thing that's possible and then being like, but it can be even more incredible than that. And that doesn't mean that like I'm not content, because I'm also very content and at peace with just like where things are. It just means that like that's where all the fun is, right? Like I think that together, I guess the consideration is like, why not? Like, why not? You know, life here for a limited time. What are you gonna do? Like, like what are you gonna do with it? You appreciate it. You can be grateful in every moment. But I think the way that you show gratitude in every moment is intense usefulness. Intense usefulness with like the right attitude. And having fun and exploring like the possibilities of what it means for us to be together here now. And so that's like that's it's not just like saying buy the art, spend your money, support in that way. Like, no, like you could support by just like actually hearing what is said and like hearing it and letting that be activated in your day to day. That's participation. That's like, so there's all forms of ways that like, all of you can be involved. And it's a fun time. It's a fun time. Last thing I kind of want to just like touch on is the more organized it's been required of me to become with the moments in each day, the less that like I'm like checking my emails and like looking at like, and just, I don't want to say like available, but like I guess that is like the way it like, it's just like it's getting to the point where each day like the things that I need to be available for are the things I need to be available for, and then there's things that like I'll get to them as I get to them. And those of you that know me know that like I'm the me you're gonna get is gonna consistently be the me that you're gonna get. So this isn't a situation of like, I want to be clear that this is a situation of me like ignoring anybody, but it's absolutely a situation of me ignoring everybody. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just means that like that's a requirement of like focus, and I can only be clear about that. But like do my best and get back and we'll like it. But like I just want to like, there's been some moments of people just being people do what people do and feel the way they feel, and like I totally understand that. But look, we're doing this together. That's been an area that and in these videos and this, like I'm gonna be just transparent and direct. And one of the biggest lessons in ways that I've been required to grow as my day-to-day has shifted from me doing a lot of the administrative work and just the day-to-day stuff to more of the vision sculpting, is being available to just like be available to think unimpeded by something that's on the schedule or a lot of times like I just give my I create a lot of space just to be available to do that. And so those of you that, I mean, many of you, it's not like, I mean, this is why I want to make these videos this way, so you can like, it's not in writing. It's not like you could, you feel it. It's like me talking to you. Many of you, I don't see you. Most of you, I don't see, like, really, like, none of you do I see as like, you're fans of what I'm like. No, you're like participants in the work that we're all doing. And I'm super grateful for that. And also part of like you becoming more participatory is you kind of in your own life thinking about the ways in which like there's things that you should maybe be ignoring. Like, right? Like, this isn't just like I'm real busy and like I gotta like not do, like, no, this is just like where things are at. It's like, no, like if you honor the work that you feel in your heart is worthy of like investing the moments of life and your life energy into with like focus. And so it's just important that I well, maybe it's not important. I just want to communicate that to everyone that I get like everybody's like feeling good and is excited and like reaching out and it's like, hey, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, but like that could be, I could spend a whole week just like texting people, but I can't spend a whole week just doing that. I'm not going to. It would be irresponsible. So talk to you when I talk to you. I'll see you when I see you. I love you guys. I'm thankful for all of you. You know that. Stay focused. Think about the things that like maybe you're like, I should probably ignore that. Like, you know, like that's not even worth the energy like that. Like, and to know what's not worth the energy. Another contemplation is like thinking about like what's worth investing my energy into. Because we live in times where if you don't make that decision, there's a lot of things that are just gonna like steal from you. And this is what we got. This is it. This is life. This is our moments here. It's for a limited time only. And it's fun to be incredibly and fearlessly useful in a well-prepared way. And I know that just incredible things come from like communities of people and groups of people that that prioritize and value that and are focused in a direction together. So yeah, it's all good. It's all possible. Good things ahead, and I'm really grateful for you all. I think I kind of touched on all of it. And yeah, these videos, you know, I have no idea how long they will. Some of them may be real short, but I just want them to be real. Yeah. Also, like, if you see me around, say what's up. I always appreciate it. Yeah. So I've few times it's happened that someone's like, "Oh, I didn't want to bug you," or you say, and it's like I also appreciate that, but like, no, say what's up. I always got some moments to like share, and it's always appreciated. So, um, yeah. All right. Well, guess this is the time when I'm just like, the video's not gonna stop. I gotta go hit the button. So I'm gonna hit the button, and I will see you guys when I see you, and live from the right attitude.